Greetings, fellow men. Servus Männer. It's Red Pill Germany again, and today I want to talk about the function of religion and what it means for societies nowadays. Now, first of all, I want to get some definitions out of the way. When I say religion, I mean organized or institutional religion. That means that the rituals and the doctrines and the beliefs and whatsoever are organized in a hierarchical, systematic, canonized way. Now that can be more or less bureaucratic, but it can also be by just oral history, for example. It wouldn't even need to be written down. Now what I don't refer to when I say religion is this personal religiosity of every individual or of some individuals. This is what I would refer to as religiosity. And this natural individual religiosity, it seems to be very widespread, and it has been said that the original avenues towards religiosity would be mysterium tremendum et fascinans, which means that there are two elements to it. One is referred to as tremendum, which means that makes us tremble or feel small and insignificant or, for example, fragile. So just imagine before people had this scientific understanding that we have nowadays, and they see a volcano erupt or someone being killed by lightning or an entire city or village being wiped out by an earthquake, kind of makes you think, you know? And this is why a lot of these natural powers, these powers of nature, were actually assigned to deities. Now the second element is the fascinosum. That is what makes us wonder and marvel at the beauty of the world, for example. Like really nice waterfall or a sunset, or you standing on the summit of a mountain and having this really great view. I mean, that also makes you wonder, and some people react to that with developing a religiosity or religious ideas. Now, and it just strikes me that there seems to be no civilization that was atheist. You know? I mean, it almost seems like as soon as we got more civilized, we also had an institutional, organized form of religion, and it seems to be almost a necessity. Maybe before that, when we were hunter-gatherers or simple tribes, there were also forms of religion, of course, but they were much less organized, much less standardized. Most of it was shamanism maybe, or belief in spirits and nature. Yeah? So I really started wondering, why was there no atheist civilization? Why did they all have their weird cults and their strange religions? So what was the function on a societal scale? What is the function, the advantage, the edge that religious societies have over non-religious societies? And the answer I think I found is that religion or imposed morality makes you act civil or moral towards people who are not your kin by blood, even when you're not observed by your community or by a policeman or militia or something like that. So when people were still more or less closely related to each other in tribes, it was kind of easy to look out for each other and to be moral to one another. But later, when big cities formed, people did not really feel related by blood anymore so much, so they needed a form of morality that was imposed. And of course, nobody could take that many tax payments away from the subjects so that they could fund a police force that was basically watching them 24/7. So it was just a very elegant and efficient way to keep your subjects under control, so that they don't rape, murder, or steal from each other at night or in a dark alley when they're not directly observed or under control. And that is, of course, a very big advantage. Now, what does that tell us about our society nowadays, where most people in the West at least do not identify with an organized religion anymore? How do our societies not really go down from violence and murder and immorality? Well, nowadays we might not believe in the promise of paradise or heaven or the punishments of hellfire anymore, but we do have these nice things. Yeah, security cameras. So instead of hoping that we will act moral when not observed, we will just be put under observation all the time. So For example, I was at a bar the other day and I had a beer there, and then 1 week later I look on my Google Maps and it tells me you were here 7 days ago. And I think, what? I mean, yeah, of course Google can know this, but do they really? Do they really? Yeah, they actually save this information, of course. And it goes so far that nowadays our cars are controlled all the time. Like there is image recognition software that runs your license plate wherever you go, and all these surveillance cameras on the autobahn or on every street corner. It goes so far that the Internet of Things should be implemented, which is of course really nice that your fridge knows exactly when it is filled and what is in there, and everyone knows where you are, because all the objects that the industry will make will be connected to the internet very soon. This is the Internet of Things, or Industry 4.0, how we refer to it here. So in a recent video I talked about automation, and I really like automation, and a lot of my commenters talked about AI, and this video back then was not strictly about AI, and I'm really skeptical towards artificial intelligence and this making everything connected to the internet and collecting big data about everything all the time. I'm not really doubting that this could be established in the future. I just don't want it to be established. So maybe the disappearance of religion from the public is pretty much like women in the workplace, you know, from the first time that it was possible because of mechanization and industrialization that women can take place in the work or the production process, they could actually participate. And now that we have all this nice technology that is able to keep us under observation much cheaper than a militia or a analog working Staatssicherheit or Gestapo could ever do, yeah, now religion is on the decline. I wonder why. And I'm not really a religious person myself. I mean, I was born a Catholic and culturally I still kind of identify with it, but I'm more an agnostic now. I don't really care. I mean, God is not really a big part of my life right now, but I can see, of course, the function that shared morality has in a society. And it seems like on an individual level in this postmodern society, atheism is in fact unstoppable. But on a societal level and on larger timescales, what that means for our civilization, maybe atheism is not only stoppable, but it is actually self-defeating. Maybe it is actually self-stopping. Because please show me a civilization that is completely atheist and is reproducing above replacement level. And we are actually maybe already infiltrated by a very religious culture. And maybe our civilization is already dead because we are not religious anymore. And I'm not saying this is a fact. I mean, these are just musings of mine. Yeah. So maybe atheism or humanism can actually do it. I just have yet to see it. I have no idea, and I have my doubts. And it doesn't really need to be hellfire or paradise. I mean, my wife is Japanese, for example, and she's also not super religious, and most Japanese people would tell you that they're atheists when in fact they pray to their ancestors 2 times a day or something like that in their own family shrines in their living rooms. But they really have the idea that their ancestors' spirits are around them and that they are observed by their ancestors. They are actually surrounded by the spirits of their forefathers. So what that means, I mean, this does really wonders for your moral behavior. I mean, even if no one is watching you, no policeman is watching you, not your boss, not your coworkers, they still act more moral because they actually literally believe that they are watched by their ancestors and they don't want to be embarrassed in front of their ancestors. I mean, it's a funny belief. You might call it superstitious, but it has a clear function. It serves a clear, observable, measurable purpose. And of course, this doesn't work for everybody, but even if it just works for like 20% of the population who would otherwise, in some situation or another, act really immoral, like steal or hurt someone or rape someone in a dark corner, but that morality, that religiosity actually tells them to not do that. If it just works for a certain segment, this is already a big success. Because just imagine if just 5% of society would be violent criminals or something like that, you know? I'm not talking about stealing one of your neighbor's apples from his tree once a year or something like that. I'm talking about really violent, dark crime here. I mean, if you just have 5%, that is already disrupting the smooth functions of your society. With just this tiny amount of uncontrollable criminals, you will already have a society that is just workable in a police state, actually, with a lot of secret police, with a lot of cameras, and with a lot of military force on the streets. So maybe my dichotomies are all wrong and maybe my comparisons are all skewed. Please let me know what you think about that. Because I think that we either find back to an organized form of state religion or something like that, or we would end up in some, dystopian police state, or maybe we will have National Socialism again or something similar like that. Or, well, we will just end as a civilization and our territory will be taken over by a more archaic culture that is still very religious. So once again, I'm not really religious myself, but I think this is pretty much what's going on at the moment. So, thanks for watching again. Let me know what you think about that and have a great day. Servus, Kameraden.